Hello, it's Tuesday and I'm recording today's after school shiur. We were up to Daf Chav Gimel Amud Beis at the bottom, Mishnah. The last thing we learned was when someone is buying real estate from Hegdish, it needs to be evaluated by 10 people. One of them is a Kohen, and if somebody says he's going to give his actual value to Hegdish, he needs to be evaluated by 10 people. One of them should be a Kohen. Mishnah says, HaKoreh b'Torah, somebody who's reading the Torah in Beis HaKnesses, lo yifches mishloisha psukim. You're not allowed to read less than 3 psukim per aliyah. V'lo yikra lemeturgaman yoser mipasuk echad. If you're using a translator, don't give the translator more than one pasuk at a time, because if you give him more than a pasuk at a time, he might make a mistake. And in Torah, we learn halachos, so you want to make sure that there's no mistake made when you're learning halachos. Ubenavi, when you're reading Navi, then since we're not learning halachos, shloisha, you can even give the translator 3 psukim at a time. Hayu shloshtan sholish parshiyos, if 3 psukim in Navi, each pasuk is a different parsha, karin echad echad, then you should read and translate one pasuk at a time. Medalgin benavi, in Navi, you're allowed to skip from one parsha to the other. But ve'ein medalgin b'Torah, in Torah it's prohibited to skip from place to place. When you're reading Navi and we allow you to skip, how far can you skip? From where to where? Ad kedei shelo yifsek hameturgaman. You can skip as long as when the meturgaman finishes translating, you're ready to continue reading, not to keep the tzibur waiting. So you can skip, just make sure that when you're turning to the new place you want to read, make sure that by the time you finish turning, you're ready to continue reading and the meturgaman is finished. They shouldn't have to wait for you. The Gemara asks, Hani shloisha psukim keneged mi? The 3 psukim corresponds to who or what? Amar Ravasi, keneged, it corresponds to Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. It corresponds to Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. Interesting. The Gemara had previously said that you shouldn't have less than 3 aliyahs. And there the Gemara said either it corresponds to the Torah Nevi'im and Ksuvim or to Kahanim Leviim v'Yisraelim. Kahanim Leviim v'Yisraelim could relate to how many aliyahs you have because it's different people. But 3 psukim doesn't relate to Kahanim Leviim v'Yisraelim. So it would relate to the 3 sections that we have in Kisvei Kodesh, Torah Nevi'im and Ksuvim. V'lo yikra l'meturgaman yoser mipasuk echad. Don't give the translator more than one pasuk at a time. In Navi, you can give the translator even shloisha psukim, even 3 psukim. If the 3 psukim, each pasuk is a different parsha, then read it to the translator only one by one. Can you give me an example of 3 psukim that are 3 parshiyas? Going, for example, in Yeshayahu Nun Bet, Perik Nun Bet, psukim Gimel Dalet and Hey. One pasuk is Ki Koi Amar Hashem Chinam Nimkartem. Hashem says, I sold you for nothing. Second pasuk says, Ki koimar Hashem Elokim Mitzrayim Yorad Ami Barishona. Hashem Elokim says, my nation first went down to Egypt. That's a different story. And the third pasuk is, Va'ata Mali Po Num Hashem. What have I got here? Says Hashem. These are 3 psukim, 3 consecutive psukim. Each one is another parsha. In the Mishnah it says, Medalgin Menavi, that in Navi you can skip from place to place. Ve'im Medalgin b'Torah. In Torah you're not allowed to skip from place to place. Or Mini, I'm going to ask you a contradiction from a Mishnah in Masechet Yoma. In Masechet Yoma it says, Koreh, on Yom Kippur, the Kohen Gadol reads Parshas Achrei Mot, which has to do with the service of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. And then he skips and he goes to Ach Ba'asar. He goes to the Pasuk Ach Ba'asar, which is in Parshat Emor. V'halka Medalik, but you're skipping. And the Mishnah said you're not allowed to skip. Amar Abaye answers, it's like a conversational answer. Lo kasha, no difficulty. Kan b'chdei sheyifsek ha-turgaman. The Mishnah prohibited you to skip if you're skipping so far that the translator will have finished before you can continue. But kan on Yom Kippur is b'chdei shelo yifsek ha-turgaman. The translator is not going to be kept waiting because from Achrei Mois to Kedoshim to Emor is only 2 parshiyas. So you give him a pasuk, he translates. By the time he finishes translating the pasuk, you can already be in Parshas Emor, and you won't keep him waiting. The Gemara says, impossible, this answer. V'alok tani. But the Mishnah explained, medalgin b'novi, you're only allowed to skip a novi, ve'ein medalgin b'torah, and you're not allowed to skip in Torah. Then the Mishnah explained, v'ad kamahu medalik, how far can you skip? Skip in what? Skip in novi, where I allow you to skip. How far can you skip? Ad kedesh liyifsek haturguman. Make sure that when you're skipping a navi, you don't keep the translator waiting. Michlal, that implies the b'Torah klal klalo. That implies that in Torah you can't skip at all. Rien de tout, nothing. So how can the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur skip from Achremos to Emor? Elam Rabbayas says, I can resolve everything. Lo kasha. There's no contradiction between the Mishnah and Megillah that says not to skip and the Mishnah and Yuma where the Kohen Gadol skips. Kam b'inyan echad. On Yom Kippur, when the Kohen Gadol skips from Achremos to Emor, Achremos is about Yom Kippur, and Ach be'asor. What's be'asor? The 10th day of the 7th month, which is also Yom Kippur. So if it's the same topic, you're allowed to skip. Kan b'shtei inyanos. But our Mishnah says you're not allowed to skip because you can't go from one topic to the other. And in fact, this answer is perfect. V'hatanya, and I'll prove it to you from a Braita. The Braita says, medalgin b'Torah, you are allowed to skip in Torah, be'inyan echad, as long as it's the same subject. Like the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, who went from Achrei Mois to Emor. U'b'navi, in prophets, you can even skip b'shnei inyanim from one topic to the other. But kan v'kan, whether you're skipping in Torah within the same subject, or you're skipping a navi from subject to subject, make sure b'chdei shelo yifsak haturgaman, make sure that the translator is not kept waiting. Tanya Yidak, we learned another Braita, Ein medalgin b'navi l'navi. You shouldn't go, even if you're allowed to skip in prophets, you can't go from Yeshua to Shaftim or from Shaftim to Shmuel. U'b'navi shel shnei masor, the book, the scroll of Navi, which is called Trei Asor, which is 12 short books. Because they were very small, they were afraid to make a scroll of each one alone, it might get lost. So they incorporated it into one big scroll of 12. So they're medalig. You can even go from one to the other. You can go from Yoel to Hosea, etc. Just don't go backwards. So again, we have a number of rules. In Torah, you can also skip, as long as it's the same topic. In Navi, you can even go from topic to topic. In Navi, you can't go from one Navi to the other. In Trei Asor, you can even go from one Navi to the other, but never go backwards. Mishnah, Hamafter ben Navi, the one who got prophets, the one who got the aliyah of Navi, so because he got a aliyah which wasn't as respectable as an aliyah b'Torah, so we have to compensate him. So Upores al Shema. We've learned about this before, that the latecomers would do Kaddish Baruch Hu, one bracha of Shema, Shema and Shemona Esrei, and he gets to be the leader of this abbreviated tefillah for the latecomers. Now, it's a bit odd because these latecomers came before Kriyas HaTorah. So if they came before Kriyas HaTorah and we waited for them, but how did we know that he's the Mafter ben Navi? So evidently, if we knew that somebody's going to be the Mafter ben Navi, so in advance we already honored him by leading the latecomers in their abbreviated prayer. And he's also going to be the Chazan. He's going to daven Musaf as a Shliach Tzibur. Here comes a very difficult sentence. V'hu noise es kapov. The guy that got Mafter gets to do Berchot Kahanim. Makes no sense. Is he a Kohen? So of course he does Berchot Kahanim. And if he's not a Kohen, what's he doing Berchos Kahanim? The Tosfos Yantiv says that it means that when they start the bracha, he should start it first. Like when they start the bracha, you let him go Baruch before the others begin. Okay. There's another possibility. We discussed this in school, that there was an interesting question. You know, I'll take my time a little bit because we have a lot of time. There was a community somewhere, I think in Italy, where they had a very odd custom that the Kahanim would go up for Berchot Kahanim, but only one Kohen would actually say the Berchot Kahanim, and the others would listen, the other Kahanim, and they would be considered doing Berchot Kahanim by Shomea Ka'ona, hearing like saying. This minhag did not fly, because even though Shomea hearing is like saying, but if the saying has to be done in a particular manner, then hearing doesn't acquire that particular manner. Again, when you read the Megillah, The one who reads the Megillah is reading it, and whoever hears it is considered as if they read it, because the Megillah needs to be read. So read is read, and hearing it is like reading it, so you consider it as if you read it. But if the reading needs to have a specific form, something special about the reading, that's not transferable. And since the halacha is that Birchot Kahanim has to be done b'kol ram, in a particularly elevated voice, the listeners cannot acquire that quality of elevated voice. And therefore, all Kahanim do Birchot Kahanim. But in a place where they would have had such a minhag, that one person did Birchot Kahanim and the other Kahanim would just listen, then the guy that got maftir, if he was a Kohen, would get to be the one who actually said the Birchos Kahanim. So again, if you hold like that minhag, that one Kohen says and the others listen, then the meaning of the Mishnah would be V'hu noisei es kapav, that when one of the Kahanim would actually say Birchot Kahanim, it would be the one that got maftir. There's another fancy pshat. Turei Even says the halacha is that if you have a shul that all the members are Kahanim, so what happens? So the Kahanim all go up, but 10 Kahanim don't. 10 Kahanim stay in their seats, so that the Kahanim that go up have somebody to bless. So kind of it works out. You have to throw a lottery. Who gets to go up to do Birchot Kahanim, and who loses, who gets to be the audience. If somebody got maftir, he for sure gets to be one of those who goes up to do Birchot Kahanim. He does not have to take a chance on becoming part of the audience. So again, the Mishnah said whoever got maftir got honored, A, to be the leader of the abbreviated tefillah for the latecomers, B, he got to be chazan for Musaf, and C, he gets to do Birchot Kahanim, and I gave you 3 explanations. Either he gets to lead the bracha, so says the Taisvus Yantiv, or the Turei Even says that he gets to be one of those that goes up, and he doesn't have to be one of those that stays at the audience. And I gave you a 3rd pshat, which I don't remember where it came from. Yimoya Katan, and if he's a child under 13 who got maftir, so he can't be a shaliach tzibur, and he can't be the mevorach of Birchos Kahanim, Aviv or Rabbo, his father or his teacher, over in Al Yado, will replace him. His father or his teacher will be the one who leads the abbreviated prayer, or the one who is the shliach tzibur for Musaf. Katan Kore Batorah, somebody who's under 13 could actually get an aliyah. I can explain this also, take another minute. You should know that Kriyas HaMegillah, or the reading of Parsha Zohar, is an obligation on every individual to either read Megillah or to read Parsha Zohar. So how does everybody get to read? By listening to the reader, and Shomea, hearing, is Ka'ona, like saying it. Kriyas HaTorah on Shabbos, there's no obligation that everybody needs to read. So therefore, not everybody is being Yotzei personally with the reading of the Balkoreh. It's just there's a mitzvah that when you have a minyan, you have a shul, there's a mitzvah of Kriyas HaTorah, that the Torah should be read. But who reads it doesn't really matter. So you can really call up a minor, somebody who's under 13, to read the Torah. Rav Moshe Feinstein writes, the reason why we don't do it today is because today the one who's called up doesn't actually read. It's the Balkoreh who's the agent for the person that was called up, and it's not respectful that an adult Balkoreh should be an agent on behalf of a child. Therefore, we don't call up children for aliyot. But in principle, a child could be called up for an aliyah. Umetargim, and a very bright child who knows how to learn, can be a translator. Aval eino poros al shema, he cannot lead an abbreviated tefillah, ve'eino over lifnei hateva, it can't be a shaliach tzibur, because whoever leads the prayer is being mitzi all those who cannot pray, and he's mitzi them when they hear it's like they said it. But he is not an adult, and if he's not an adult, he's not chayiv. Whoever is not chayiv can't be mitzi others. Ve'eino nosei et kapah. And even if he's a Kohen, he can't be the one who does Birchot Kahanim. I mean, he can go up for Chinuch, but he can't be the sole Mevorech. Pochech, somebody has, his legs are uncovered. Pores et Shema, he could lead the abbreviated Tefillah, because he's going to do it from his place and he's not standing in front of the people. Umetargum, he can also be a translator because he's also doing it from his place. Aval eino korah b'Torah, but he can't read from the Torah if he's not dressed properly. Ve'eino over lifnei hateva, he can't stand in front of the tzibur as a shliach tzibur because he's not dressed properly. Ve'eino nosei et kapav, and he can't stand up in front of the public to do Birchot Kahanim because he's not dressed properly. Summa, a blind man, Pores et Shema, can lead the abbreviated prayer and say Baruch Ata Hashem Yotzer HaMa'orot, Umetargum, and it could be a translator. Common sense says that he can't be a reader, right? He's blind. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees, and he says, Kol shalera ma'oris miyamav, a blind man who never saw light, he was blind from birth, eino paris al shema, should not lead the abbreviated prayer, because the bracha that he says is Baruch Hashem Yotzer HaMa'orot, Hashem created light, and this man unfortunately never saw light, so how can he thank Hashem for creating light? The Gemara asks, My Tama, why does the one who gets maftir get other compensatory honors? Why does he get other honors? Rav Papa says Mishum Kavod. Since he was, so to speak, since he got less honor to get Navi instead of other Olim that got Torah, so we need to compensate him. Rabbi Bar Shimi Amar Mishum, because the Asi Linsuye, he's going to argue with a Shliach Tzibur. It's fascinating. It seems that the Shliach Tzibur, the Chazan, used to get paid, but the one who got maftir didn't get paid. So he's going to be upset. He says, you sing and you get paid. I sing, I don't get paid. My Beinai, where would be the difference between these two reasons? Ika Beinai, the difference would be the Avid Bechinam, if the Chazan doesn't get paid. If the reason why we compensate the maftir is because he got an inferior aliyah, we need to compensate him. But if it's because he's going to be angry why the Shliach Tzibur gets paid and he doesn't, well, the Shliach Tzibur doesn't get paid, so we wouldn't have to compensate the maftir. Tanan, in the Mishnah we learned, if he was a minor, then his father or his Rebbe will go up on his behalf. But if you say that the one who got maftir will argue with the Shliach Tzibur, how come you get paid and I don't? I don't think a child is going to argue, will have the chutzpah to argue with an adult why he gets paid and I don't. So the Gemara responds, Elamai Mishim Kavod. Is the reason why the Baal Maftir gets additional compensatory honors is because he was dishonored by getting only Navi, Kotan Bar Kavod, would a minor challenge and argue how come he wasn't honored? Once upon a time, things were different, huh? Ika, I guess, Kavod of a Kavod Rabbo. The reason why you have to appease the minor is because the father and the teacher will say, how come you dishonored my child? If my child could have gotten an Aliyah Batorah, why did you give my child maftir? So it's the father and the Rebbe who will claim the honor. So Hachanami, we turn the page, here also, Ika Netzuya Aviv Netzuya Rabbo. So the same way the father or the Rebbe may have the boldness to go up to the Shliach Tzibur and say, it's not fair, you get paid for singing, and my child or my student who's a minor didn't get paid for his singing. So the minor is not going to demand honor, the minor is not going to argue for payment, but his father or his Rebbe might, and therefore his father and Rebbe are being compensated. I'll just finish with a little Dvar Torah. It's interesting that a judge is not allowed to take anything from people. Shimshon was a judge, and Shimshon said he never asked anybody to carry a stick for him, because if anybody carried a stick for him, so he did something for the judge, now there might be a bias, the judge might favor you. On the other hand, the Gemara says that if a Rebbe doesn't allow a Talmud to serve him, so he's denying the Talmud Olam Haba. A Rebbe should allow the Talmud to serve him. So the question arises, yeah, but sometimes if the Talmud's going to serve the Rebbe is going to be biased towards the Talmud. Looks like there's no problem. A judge is not allowed to be biased. A Rebbe is allowed to be biased towards Talmidim. There's nothing wrong with it. The same way that a father would protect his children, a Rebbe should protect his Talmidim. He should be biased. He should only see good in his Talmidim. And there's no problem if the Talmud serves the Rebbe and now the Rebbe loves the Talmud and he's biased towards him. It's the right way to be. I'm biased. So many of you are doing such special things that it's extraordinary. It's marvelous. Hashem should bless all of you, and everybody should stay healthy.